The Week on Green 960.
And now, Sebastian Kunz.
We've been talking about the Clipper Card on The Week on Green 960. It's a relatively new way to pay for your transit ride around the Bay Area with just one card. It sounds good except for the people who experience problems. There is Clipper Card customer service, but it's not very fast. They also didn't respond to our request for an interview. Just like adding Clipper Card cash value online, there could be a delay in getting the value onto your card. And if you should make a mistake or need a refund, there's also a delay. So even if they agree to a refund, it's not instantaneous. It takes 3 to 5 days for the refund on the Clipper Card to go through, and that's 3 to 5 days that this card, with almost $50 in American cash value on it, is locked and blocked, and it'll stay that way until either the refund goes through or until I add more cash value. But it doesn't stop there either. People don't just buy transit passes the old-fashioned way. These days, people's employers frequently want to cash in on transit benefits, which they provide their employees, but it turns out oftentimes that just adds to the proverbial red tape.
What I had done is I had damaged my existing Clipper Card, and it was past the cutoff to make any changes from the WageWorks side. WageWorks sent me to Clipper customer service, and Clipper said that there was nothing that they can do.
Chris Suhu has been struggling with the Clipper Card for a long time, trying to make it jive with his Works commuter benefits program. But it turns out Suhu ran head-on into that proverbial red tape.
The only thing that they can do was to actually block my damaged card, and where the funds will reject, and it would be up to me to deal with the commuter benefit company. And so I called WageWorks, and WageWorks sent me back to the Clipper customer service, and it was kind of a runaround.
And now enter the Twitterverse, where Suhu faced a runaround in real life. When he started to raise his voice on Twitter, he saw Clipper customer service turn around.
When I started complaining up a storm via Twitter and via different avenues, that got them to fix that particular issue, and they manually transmitted to my new card that same day.
Chris Suhu is not alone either. Alexander Shen posted a blog recently describing his difficulties with the new, improved Clipper Card system.
It's just like met with frustration because it's like, oh, you have no money on your card. And it's like, but you already took $225 or how much from my credit card, and then I have to go buy a single ride ticket just so I can get into work.
Shen says back on February the 1st, when he wanted information from the folks at Clipper customer service, he also got a version of the runaround.
That frustration mounts up by trying to call customer support that day, and they actually said that they were experiencing like a high volume call, so they would have to call me back. And like 3 hours later, I called again just to see, and they're like, oh, the system is down. I don't even know what that means. So
with all this information, we might expect to find simply that Clipper hadn't gotten the word out to the riders. But there are pamphlets online, frequently asked questions lists or FAQs. Even a Clipper Card tent was set up this past week outside of the Caltrain 4th and King station, people passing out flyers and trying to get the word out about the hang-ups Clipper users face. The effort seems to be there, but it's still a highly complex system, and not all of the answers are forthcoming.
If you go to the FAQ on either site, Clipper Card or Caltrain, like they have a pretty good FAQ about it. But I just feel like some of this information should be presented maybe when you tag on. It says, oh, you have a monthly pass, as opposed to you have a negative balance of like $10.50. I don't know what that means. Like, do I owe you money later? I'm not sure.
And now we're back to the issue of the cloud. That Clipper Card cash balance, part of the cloud to be exact. You must have a positive cash balance or the card gets locked. We've been over that. But Shen says it wasn't very clear to him until recently.
I wasn't aware of the $1.25 minimum cash balance that you need on the Clipper Card. Which they do say on the site you need. It's just that you figure your monthly pass would like go towards that $1.25. And I just found it interesting that if it's required to have at least $1.25 on your Clipper Card in Clipper Cash to use the monthly pass, why would they allow you to purchase a monthly pass without it?
And Chris Suhu agrees, saying it seems like the avenues for riders having trouble aren't really paved yet.
They have not defined a process to actually handle this type of a problem. If they don't, I'm sure I won't be the only one that actually runs into this particular issue.
Now, if you ride Caltrain for any length of time, you get familiar with some of the conductors aboard the trains. Many of them are expressing frustration with the new system as well. The confused riders are coming to the conductors for help, and the conductors seem well trained on the system, but that doesn't mean they like it.
You could just tell that one of the conductors that he just looked like he didn't really appreciate the Clipper card that much. He looked like he much would have preferred to just look at someone's ticket as opposed to take out the machine and scan every card.
So you keeping all this straight, you got the Clipper card cash value on one side as well as your monthly or multi-ride pass on the other side, both of them existing alongside each other on the same Clipper card. Here's the problem. Other people have actually found a way to take this complicated system and make it work to their advantage.
It depends. Sometimes I get 3, sometimes I get 5, sometimes I'll even go get 10.
Meet John Doe, and yes, he's talking about buying up to 10 Clipper cards at once. Why?
Clipper had announced on Twitter that their cards would be free with the $2 top-up. So if you got the $2 top-up, you got your card for free rather than the $5. And I had known about the loophole previous to that because I was a TransLink customer.
So how exactly does the scam work? Mr. Doe says at least through this coming summer, he'll be combining the free new Clipper cards with the cash value minimum balance loophole.
And I figured, hey, if the card is free, and if I'm using the $2 to get the card, not only am I getting my ride, but then I can also leave a balance on the card and throw the card away.
John Doe says he's shared his idea with other transit riders. Some just laugh, but others have also taken advantage.
Because they're realizing that it's great for school. It's cut their costs down because they can't afford to necessarily buy a pass and pay for their tuition. There has to be a cut somewhere. And as long as there's a loophole that exists to be exploited, they're going to use it.
Although it's important to note the latest Caltrain financial difficulties, the last round of cuts saw a reduction in the number of daily trains and an increase in the cost to ride Caltrain, and the next round of cuts is expected to result in a handful of Caltrain stations being shut down for good. I asked John Doe if he feels any ethical qualms about using this loophole to cut his transit costs when everyone else is paying the full price.
You know what? I have really mixed feelings on that after I found out about what's going to happen. I feel really bad for a lot of the people who use the stations that may be closing. And I do know people who use those stations. And in a way, I do feel responsible that those stations would be closing.
But John Doe says Caltrain doesn't deserve the latest fare hikes, given his opinion of their quality of service.
So using the card in a way where there's already a loophole with it, necessarily built into it, using it on any transit agency, whether it's Caltrain or not, I think that it doesn't really matter which agency that it's at. But in terms of specific with Caltrain, kind of not paying your entire fare by using the loophole, yes, it's abusive, but really you're kind of paying for the service that you get. And me personally, the service that I get out of Caltrain, you know, I can take BART and I can go take a bus and probably get there faster without delays and without issues.
Doe says if you factor in those delays, the fare hikes, the reduced service, and the lower quality, it means that John Doe doesn't feel that guilty about paying a fraction of the full Caltrain fare.
It's almost prohibitive. It's almost worth me just buying a car and paying a lease every single month rather than just taking Caltrain. So using the loophole, I guess, for a lot of people around me has made sense to them. They've saved money on it. And at the same time, they also have been able to see exactly, you know, the kind of service that they're getting and that they've been paying for, and they also feel that it's not worth it. It's not worth the higher prices anymore.
But there is a creative side to this scam, too. Collecting all of those used-up Clipper cards are leading to kind of a functional craft project.
Originally, the idea was to take them apart and to use them as, put them into bracelets or on the back of my cell phone. So when the Clipper cards were no longer free, I would know how to take apart my actual Clipper card and use it effectively.
Yes, Clipper card jewelry. If the little piece embedded inside the card is attached to, say, a ring or bracelet, boom, you've got jewelry that gets you where you're going.
Take out the chips that are inside with the antennas and turn them into bracelets. They have them in Hong Kong where they implant them in your cell phone on the back of the battery cover. They have them for ID cards. They also have them for bracelets. They have them for rings where you can install the little chip and the antenna around the ring, and then you can just walk up to the machine and just beep it.